slides. All right, so if I could have Niv, Melanie, and Ross, please join me, take a seat. All right, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We're gonna kick it off with an easy one. Introduce yourself, share your name, who you're working for, and anything else you'd like to share here. So, Ross, why don't you kick us off? We have 2 mics in the room.
Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Ross Dyer. I used to live here in New York until about 2 years ago in Chicago, so great to see we have an event upcoming in Chicago. I've been at Amazon now for almost 5 years, but working within sales engineering, pre-sales for, I don't like to say it, but almost 25 plus years now, so I've seen a lot of changes and excited to talk about some of those things. Fun fact, other than I moved to Chicago, where the weather's even worse in New York, I guess you can tell I'm originally from England. There you go, that's a fun fact.
Hi everyone, I'm Melanie Bendix. I'm a sales engineering leader with IBM. I've been with IBM almost 10 years now, and I'll say my fun fact is, similar to some in the audience, I had no idea what sales engineering was when I first got started. Showed up and said, what do you mean I have a technical background? I thought it was going to be programming. I have to go explain how this works to customers, and fell in love with the industry, and have been here ever since.
Hey everybody, Niv Reynoso from Redis, VP of Americas for pre-sales. I'm gonna pick on Myra. One of my teammates is here. Hi Myra. So Myra says to her husband, that's my boss's boss's boss. And I said, I'm a sales engineer and I'm your friend, right? I'm just in a different role. And I've been lucky enough to be in the industry for a long time. I actually knew Akshat 3 companies ago when he was a DJ and lived in New York. Now he's married and lives in New Jersey. He's a global director, right? So it's been fun, and I've always wanted to come to one of these events and share with you guys, because I think the networking is amazing. I think the SA role, or the SE role, we call them solutions architects, but sales engineer role, it's one of the best jobs ever. You get the thrill of sales, but you get to build really cool solutions for your customers, solve business challenges, and you get to travel, and you get to do amazing things. So for everybody that's just getting started, or people that are networking, super nice to meet you, and thank you for having me.
All right, thank you all for coming. For the record, Akshat still DJs. He's going to be DJing at the after party, so that would be nice. All right, so tonight the topic is the future sales engineer. Obviously, we'll touch on AI, agents, everything happening right now. I was struggling with what should the first question be of the night, and Niv said, let's come out strong, so I really appreciated that. So Niv, we'll start with you. There are people out there who say that with all the advancements in technology and AI, SEs and SAs might get replaced. What do you say about that?
You stumped me right away. Yeah, we could just cut this short and just go to the bar. We're all going to get replaced by agents, right? No, so if you think about enterprise sales, one of the most important things about enterprise sales, and we actually, I think there's questions about this, but how we interview people, it's how well can you connect with your customers? How well can you understand and put yourself in their shoes, take an empathetic position and help them solve their problems? And one of the cool things, so I was just in San Francisco and I had the most AI week ever. We met with one of the largest banks, and our CEO actually is running agents in his house, and the agents are talking to each other, and we're talking about how we can disrupt, is that we're innovating and we're actually saving money by accelerating development in our product, which is really exciting. We're thinking about using that money to actually put more sales engineers and architects and salespeople on the ground. I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but if you think about it from a certain level, when you're scaling a company, there is an algorithm of how many salespeople you put to the ROI that you're going to get and the revenue that you're going to generate. So the more salespeople you're able to have in front of customers and connecting with your customers, the more higher your growth rate is. I think it's going to be even more important in the age of AI. I think we're going to use automation for other things, and we're going to use people that go make connections and make sales.
I'll wholeheartedly agree. I don't think you can replace in any aspect with AI the human connection, the storytelling, the ability to capture a room with your presence and create that, I don't know, just genuine connection. So yes, I've been to 1,000 meetings where we talk about agentic AI and taking over the world, and every vendor in the space that is trying to do this, but sometimes you see the best outcomes, and it's when you really can think ahead of how can I delight or excite them and make this a memorable moment for them. And I don't think that's something that Agentic AI will do.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much more I can add. I think also, look, if you want to work with AI, this is a great job to have to work with AI. The one thing that I've seen is that AI is helping us get better, and so we can focus on the people interaction. When we're doing demos or when we're talking about tying it back to business value, AI is helping us accelerate that and just get better at what we do. So far, all positive.
All right, sounds like we're safe for another quarter, which is great to hear. Yeah, I had someone, a company reach out and they were like, oh, we're doing these AI sales agents. Do you want to meet with one? And I did, and it was the most awkward 15 minutes. I didn't even ask you why it was 15 minutes. I should have cut that off shorter, but yeah, I think we're a ways from that. But in the same respect, we hear about all of these efficiencies that we can leverage this technology for, and companies talking about how do we do more with less or just be more efficient. So I'm curious, from your perspective, where have you seen the biggest benefits of this leverage by your team? And Ross, we'll start with you so you don't go last every time.
Thank you. Look, I think the reality is this: you can give a gym membership to everybody. Doesn't mean they're going to use it. It's the same with AI. Companies are still struggling with how to bring people up to get the full value, to build continuity in use. So we're still on that journey, if I'm brutally honest. I think also, look, it's just super important to recognize, as I said, that you have to embrace it. You have to go in and lean in on Learn and Be Curious and Amazon LP. How can it help you do the things that typically are the boring things? It's the drudgery. It's the things that you don't really enjoy, so you can focus on the things that you're passionate about. So I think that's where people have really excelled and are able to use it day to day, is because they're leaning in and understanding that this is going to help me versus resisting it.
And I'd say I've seen it a lot for myself and even my team on focus and prioritization. You want to be able to say yes and help everyone, but sometimes you need to look at the task and say, how can I consolidate this? How can I deliver something quickly? How can I iterate so that I'm more efficient with my time, but really not spend too much time on the things that don't matter at the end of the day, and be able to take the human element of that again of, okay, why am I doing this task in the first place? Can I really focus and prioritize how I'm using AI in this example?
So our company, Rowan Trollope, he was the CEO of Five Nines. He drives a Cybertruck, and he's got agents running in his house, and he's a developer, and he's going off on AI. And actually, it set read us up really well. So one of the kind of exciting parts is, and I'm not going to give a pitch about our product, but we're really ready to meet the market in architecture for Redis. But we got two places. So we've got our product's response to the market and the massive disruption that's happening right now. He's really unlocking in places that other companies you might not, people would be scared to do. You're allowed to use any AI tool you want that can automate or speed up your job. We've got two aspects that I think are really unlocking things. The first aspect, we use a tool called Glean, and Glean hooks into Slack, Salesforce, Google Drives, and it will summarize your interactions and your engagements with your customers. It will tell you exactly, our CRO was like, yeah, I need to do a presentation to the board. I used Glean and it said, these are the things that customers want. What do you think? And I go, well, it's about 99% accurate. That's pretty good. So it's gaining a lot of business value and intelligence by your customer. The second thing that I'm actually excited about, my essays might not know this, half of my essays are actually vibe coding demos. So they're using Claude and they're creating these custom tailored demos to make sure that they really connect with their customers. So if you think about, we're really big in financial services. We just went to Halliburton to talk about a drilling thing. It's not really our sweet spot, but we definitely can solve them technically. One of the things that we did is we vibe coded a drilling demo pretty similarly to what they needed to do, and use that to build that connection point inside the demo to the customer. So we're going to be rolling that out around our team. I think we're going to show examples of how it's been successful, and then share that with everybody else.
That's great. We got to get you said it's the CEO who has the Cybertruck and the agents and everything?
Yeah. And I had
we got to get him at the next event. I have questions.
I learned so much just from hanging out with these people. I had an engineer that said he was running so many agents in his house, he was stealing GPUs from his son's Xbox. He has an agent that runs when his son is playing, so it doesn't slow down, so he doesn't notice. He turns it down and then turns it back on. We're living in a crazy world.
That's amazing. One of the things I think, Ross, you said is, you know, you can give these people this technology, you can't force them to use it. I'm curious, you know, how have you seen either your teams or your companies just incentivize or motivate people to use this technology effectively?
I think it comes from leadership, top down. Great example, same thing. You go to a customer, you work with a customer, or you do something internal and you showcase its success, particularly where you're seeing clear results. So I think it's about showing and sharing where you are being successful. I think there's also just a reality of you need the right people that want to embrace it. This isn't something where you can just mandate it per se. Like I said, it comes back to people and process. People need to be encouraged. I know from my perspective, you can go down the rabbit hole of doing so many different things. And so it's about prioritization, but it's also just encouraging people to experiment. And it's a safe space to do that, but also just ways that people don't even think about. So I was solving a problem one way, then I thought, what about this way, and then this way? And so it evolves and iterates in real time anyway. So it's quite nuanced because you're like, why am I not just using AI for this? It's like, I'll get asked a question, it's like, did you ask our version of Clean, Quick, Amazon Quick? Did you ask Quick that question? Why are you asking me? Share with me the answer and I'll say if it's accurate or not. Or we're having our customers use AI and answer those questions without having to come to us. Particularly the basic things, like having our customers run proactive resiliency or security checks. And then you can focus on a business strategy, helping them innovate, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, so we're on a journey, as I said. Yep.
I'd say too, it has to come from leading by example. When you see your own leadership team doing it, when you see your peers doing it, it just starts to trigger that this is something that we should all be doing. I challenge my team within their work in the week to actually look at how they can be using AI differently, and then we get to a team call and they each have to give an example of one thing that they did differently this week using AI to inspire someone else. You have people, again, that are gonna adopt it so widely, and they're starting to now post, I'll call it like lunch and learns or coffee chats of how I built this essentially, and getting others to see it. And then I think you'll always have the people that are not as interested, don't see the benefits, slow to adopt, and you know, I start to challenge them a bit when they do something to say, well, have you thought about doing this with AI? Or like how much faster this could have been, or a different output to make you think differently. So, like you were saying, it has to be person dependent, but creating this safe environment for them to feel comfortable to experiment with it.
Yeah, just plus one that we do the same thing where we actually have somebody leading an initiative within the industry that I work in, working with others, but bringing these ideas of how we're using it, how it's changed, or made them look at things differently, and so we can start because there isn't necessarily a destination that we know where we need to get to. So encouraging people to share is super important.
Anything to add? All there?
This is the same topic, right?
Yeah.
That would be something else.
All right. One thing I want to do is just get really tactical, because I feel like it's nice to come to these types of events and have something you can go implement in your day-to-day. So the question I want to ask you all is, what is one very specific application of AI that you've seen someone on your team implement and use that you've looked at and just been like, wow, that actually is amazing that person just went and built that, and we can leverage something like that?
Many things, but there's one. Within 5 minutes of listening to a customer explain a significant challenging business problem, this was a particular customer in the retail industry. Within 5 minutes having a working demo which was basically a look and feel of their e-commerce platform, how it can be improved, and then being able to output code which we can then go and start a POV with, and literally being able to do that within 5 to 30 minutes. It was extremely powerful.
What would that usually take?
Days, weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, look, even to the extent of we built this to look and feel exactly like your e-commerce platform versus just a generic kind of storefront, but to actually so the customer can visualize and see it. It takes time and effort, and there's a million other different things that SEs are doing every day. So to tailor every single engagement to that specific customer, it takes a lot of time. So again, that's just a huge benefit, but hugely powerful. And that was something that actually, going back to innovation, something that a team of SAs within AWS, within our Greenfield teams, actually built that platform, and now it's being scaled out to others.
So there's one example on my team that always always sticks out to me, and it goes on the context of how many different client conversations, internal conversations, and people work on an opportunity, and how much context is lost between those conversations. So one of the solution architects on my team built an agent that essentially on a weekly basis writes up an internal Slack report and publishes it out to his entire technical team, his sales teams, so that any client conversations or internal conversations that this person had, the rest of their extended team has the same type of context and level setting, discovery, observations, findings, and everyone can become aligned on the next steps and nothing gets lost in translation. Because I think that's something that typically you see a lot of those next steps, maybe something that wouldn't resonate with one solution architect and someone else finds as a nugget of information that makes a difference, get lost in translation. So that's, I think, one of the most impressive ones that I've seen built to date.
I'm gonna, because I kind of already talked about the Claude one, but Akshat and I worked at a company called App Dynamics, and we had this demo that was like a magic trick. Actually, everybody thought that they were amazing essays after that, and salespeople, because this demo was so cool. But one of the things we had to do is we had to tailor the demo, and we would change the things to be like, this is for a bank, or this is for retail, or this is for, you name it, this is for oil and gas. And we would tailor that demo so much, the people that were really good, that really sold, that people would say, oh, is that my system right there that you're using? Because we would fake them out. And I think there are different types of products. Everybody sells different types of products. There's Workday, there's Redis. It's a very technical, fast database that's inside of the architecture. And certain products, it's harder to just tailor your demo to exactly what your customer wants. But a lot of times we rely on the customer using their imagination to walk over the bridge and understand that you can really deliver what they can, what they want. With the power of Claude, the way you can actually generate applications and UIs and make people really feel like they're already living in the solution that you want. We've noticed actually in our data that some of the top sellers have been doing this independently for the past 3 or 4 or 5 months. So the people that have hit at a higher rate are taking their customers' requirements, they're listening to their customer, they're whiteboarding it out, and this is how you exactly want it to go. They take their data, they vibe code it, and then they show it back to the customer. You want something like this? I'm like, that's amazing, how did you do that? You gotta remember, in our position, a lot of times we are on the forefront of technology just because we get to see what other customers are doing and consolidate what the really advanced and kind of maybe not so advanced customers are doing. And when we bring that opinion to customers of us using agents and pre-sales to deliver to them, it also builds a lot of credibility in how fast you can innovate for your customers.
All right, those are 3 good tactical examples. Hopefully that was helpful. One that we've implemented in my company is, now, we literally click a button that is connected to Slack, to Gong. I gotta give Gong a shout out for Owen. To Gong, to Salesforce, to our data warehouse, to all these different systems. And it creates this beautiful business case that we can use as a foundation as we work and build business cases with our prospects and customers. That used to be a days-long thing, and now it is a very quick, beautiful, easy thing. Before we move on there, because I want to make sure we hit this enough, any questions from the crowd on anything that was just shared, or if anyone wants to go one step deeper? Okay, we got one in the back.
Okay, I'll make one. I don't know if there's need.
Oh, go ahead, scream it out.
Okay, to preface this, I'm not a sales engineer, so if this is if I'm missing context and makes this a dumb question, we can just skip it. But specifically for Niv, you're talking about vibe coding demos, and I'm curious if I suppose obviously you wouldn't be using it if this is the case, but your vibe coding demos, are you seeing a higher failure rate on edge cases if you're in a demo and the customer asks you to do something? Or you're not, because you're supposed to always test your demo before you show it to the customer. But if you're vibe coding it and you're trying to move fast, maybe you're not reviewing the code. Have you seen more glitches on demos with the vibe coded content or no? Because Claude Code's getting pretty good.
Definitely a good question, not a bad question.
Right.
So pat yourself on the back. It sounds like you should be an SA. You're in the right place, sir. So I think we're just getting started, but there's two sides to being a sales engineer. The first side is the sales part. The second side is the engineer part. Like if you're just an engineer and you want to build perfect systems and have them perfectly run and you can drill into that, those are people that we call high engineer. And then there's people that are high S, like in their personalities and how they try to go. There are certain people, like actually some of our top sellers. There's a guy in Canada. His name's Chris. He wears a bright red jacket to all the meetings and just kind of yells at customers with a marker until they like him, right? And it doesn't really matter if the demo worked perfectly with all the data because he's making so many hand motions and screaming. I'm kidding. He's got more tech than that. But the point is I think you can generate a demo that looks so close to them, and it depends on your different products. Here at Redis, we have a very fast database. And people ask, what does Redis do? And I even have to explain to my wife, like when you swipe a credit card, global fraud detection fires everywhere in milliseconds. How do you show that to somebody? And to put a UI on front of it, and so to actually having Claude generate a UI and just give you a visual that connects, even if it's a dashboard or data, anything that you can see, you're building another bridge in somebody's mind that could potentially buy your solution. So check your code, check your bugs, pray to the demo gods if you don't already do that. But it's going to get you further down the line, and then you can always build a perfect system later.
Awesome. That was a great question. I appreciate that one. What's your name back there?
Oh, I'm Graham.
Graham?
Yeah.
If you didn't get a limited edition T-shirt from tonight's event, we should definitely try to get Graham one of those T-shirts. So that was a great question. I know there's more questions. We're going to hold questions for now. We will have a question portion. But thank you for that, Graham. A few more things to get on real quick. Along the same vein, what's a tactical way that you, as a leader within your team or organization, are using AI? Because I think it's important too, especially for ICs and SEs and SAs to understand like what are my leadership team doing?
Lots of things. No, there's one example that I'll share. And it's kind of inspired a little bit by our customer, and it's called Next Best Action. And basically, it takes all the data that we've collected, all opportunity data, all our previous monthly business reviews, weekly business reviews, inputs into Salesforce, etc., and gives you a state of play in terms of what you should do on a given day, given week, given month, and gives you next best action recommendations. So even if you're new to the customer, or you're experienced with the customer, or you're new to the product, you're being coached and given guidance in terms of what to do. And when you think at AWS that hundreds of services, thousands of partners, millions of different combinations of how you can put things together, it's hugely significant. Now again, it's getting people to be able to interpret and understand that and continue to improve it. But the key thing is you take your entire field team and level them up. And again, the people that are super smart, they're only even faster with it. But that's why I've seen one of the best kind of use cases to date. And also, you're delivering for your customer. The time you spend with your customer is intentional. And so that's, again, validation that the AI is creating meaningful output.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can say there's the tactical stuff, like agenda design and presentation design, and some of those aspects, but for me, I've really loved to use it from pattern recognition. So having multiple clients across an industry, each one of them operate really differently. They have different teams and skills that are aligned to them. How can I identify more opportunities, growth, areas for investment that we can spend, and using AI to try and find those patterns that maybe you don't see organically?
You stole my answer. That was a really good one. No, actually, so I've got a funny one, and then I'm going to double down. I totally agree. So if you think about it, I mean, there's people hire management consultants to come in and try to dig through all of their data to figure out what their actual trends and patterns are. And you can use AI to sift through all of your data and give you really good pattern recognition and trends. So that I'll give a serious one, and then we give a funny one. The serious one is like we noticed that we were losing in a certain area across all these different customers. It was buried in the different nodes inside of it. We caught a trend like 40% what we're losing in this place for this reason, and we were able to kind of correct it. So I use Glean all the time to try to get trends, pattern recognition, data. The more data you have, the better you can steer the ship in leadership. But you can use that for your customers. Let's say you want to know, you can use ChatGPT Enterprise, for example. I want to know what the top initiatives are at this customer, what they publish in their 10Ks, what do I need to do to talk to them about to connect with their business initiatives. It's surfacing up and doing a ton of research for you. It used to take knowledge workers minutes or hours and days, and they bill at $300-400 an hour. That can surface that up in minutes, and it's really valuable. The funny one, and I think my team knows this, is that I've just figured out how to use ChatGPT to generate images. And oh yeah, I've been generating some good ones. So the same guy, Chris, he's not here, so I have to tell him we talked about him so much. I sent him to Guatemala. So we met an architect. He's a Canadian, and he's like, my entire team globally is meeting in Guatemala this next week. And I was like, oh cool, I'll send Chris. He's nuts. He'll go down and he'll go set up. And we actually won that deal 55 days later. But then I used ChatGPT to make an image of him on a boat in a Guatemala river, and I played the Narcos theme song in the background to celebrate his victory. And I feel like it's being really good for it's being well absorbed for the culture. Okay, Tyler. Tyler's laughing.
That's great. I do love a good image generation. There's been a couple of them in the slide deck, if anyone pick those out. How much did Glean pay you to be here tonight? I feel like that was the second drop.
It's my favorite one. I don't know.
In the crowd?
Yeah.
No, it is a great tool. I'll add mine very quickly, and it's completely polar opposite. I just finished my team's feedback reviews, and I feel like I could have used AI to do them in 3 seconds. I used zero AI. I was like, I'm revolting against you. And I just sat down, I pushed through it.
Can I comment on that? Because I think that's a really good point. So if you think about it, if everybody uses ChatGPT to write their emails, then everybody's email is going to look exactly super professional, like ChatGPT wrote it, and no one's going to connect with you, and you're not going to be breaking through. If you're trying to get it, we call it prospecting, and try to connect with somebody or get something through. Sometimes I'll intentionally write my emails super short or unprofessional, or like very at the point, like, hey, you want to meet? Like that's it. So people know that ChatGPT didn't, and you'll actually typically get a higher hit rate because they know that it's a person now.
Somebody could create an agent.
He's already replacing me.
We can definitely do that. All right, so we're going to do one more question just broadly around, industry trends and such. Then we're going to get into a little bit around career advice and career development, which I know people always appreciate when they come here. So the last question along these lines is, pull out your crystal ball. I kept wanting to say magic 8 ball. Your crystal ball, and look forward 5 years from now. What looks different about the way that you and your teams operate, and then briefly, what looks the same? Russ, you want to go first? You want Melanie to go first?
Melanie, tell me, please.
I guess I'll go first. 5 years from now, I think you'll have a bigger blend between sellers and technical sellers, or sales engineers. And I think your foundation of where you come from is going to be your strength, in the sense that, like, having that relationship and translation layer is always going to be important. I think AI is going to help bridge some of that. But 5 years from now, I just think you're going to be able to upskill a lot faster to speak the other person's language. So 5 years from now, I think that's one of the foundation areas that I would look at.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say the pace of which things are moving, but that said, not everybody's moving at the same pace. But I would just lean in on, I think Sam said it actually, just saying that you as a person, the value that you bring, the empathy, how you listen, how you solution, how you use the tooling, that's where the real skill set is. Because ultimately, can we build it? Yes. Can we build it quickly? Yes. Can we test it? Can we maintain it? Yes, yes, yes. It's about the difference that we bring as people. And I think that's what I lean in on every day anyway.
So let's predict what will happen with AI in 5 years. We should have just asked ChatGPT. He didn't have his microphone, but that was a good one. I think, look, I'm more and more convinced. I'm actually a skeptic. I've been in machine learning for a long time, and I saw AI start to come out, and we start to see the type of automation. But we're actually in another disruption that's happened. I mean, like, I'm around for virtualization and big data and cloud migration. And it's becoming pretty obvious that AI is going to write like all code, like especially the way that Claude is cranking out a lot of code, or at least like 80 or 90%. And that disruption is going to change a lot of things. I was at a large bank meeting in San Francisco, one of the largest in North America, and they're very heavy on AI. And he said, "How would I set up and run Redis?" And I said, "Well, look, you can set up a center of excellence organizationally. You can hire these people, and they could run the service for you. You can have governance inside your bank." And he goes, "No, that's how like people would run that. How would I have an agent actually do all that automatically?" And if some big banks are doing that, and people are that crazy and bold, and he also actually made another comment. He said, "I actually, before I used to just get money to go play with AI, I have to drive $200 million in ROI with AI, and there's actually like wood behind the arrow, and people are actually going to go out and go drive this thing. If anybody like that is successful, everyone else is going to start looking like they can't ignore this thing anymore, and you'll start to see people disrupt. The other second part is, if you look at what AI is doing, there are people in this room who are experts in certain technology areas, right? How heavy do you weigh your technical expertise to the value of your position, right? So you might say, well, I'm the only person that knows this technology, or I'm really the leading person in this technology, and I'm aware of how this actual product works. Some of that is actually going to get automated in a way that like it's going to be simplified, right? So there's a great round of simplification that's going to go through. And so to double down on what they're saying, I think, even when we look at people that are really good sellers, most of the time the people that are really good sellers that sell and make the most revenue, that's what you're hit on. If you're measured on how good of an architect you are, that's one thing to be measured on. But for sales, is if all this automation is coming in, you need to be the type of person that can take complex ideas and boil them down into simple statements that people understand, so you can actually persuade people. And you also need to be the type of person that's putting yourself into a business domain and solving real problems for customers. Those two things make really good SEs. But if agents and agentic AI is actually disrupting and changing and simplifying all the complex technical things, our value is really going to be to move businesses, to solve their business problems, to connect with people, and to position those types of solutions. So I would just say, we don't know what's going to happen, but it certainly can't be ignored, especially because I do think some of these people are going to be successful, and I do think we all need to take it seriously in our jobs and continue to adapt, because we're in a disruption, whether you want to believe it or not. It's pretty big. It seems bigger than anyone I've been through. So.
Plus it's fun.
Plus it's fun. Have fun with it. That's the engineer side.
It's true, we just did our last event, I think it was in December, is that when we did our last event?
Yeah.
And I think since then, OpenAI and Anthropic have added about $500 billion to their valuation, so things are indeed moving quickly. We'll move to the career portion of this program. Just by a show of hands, I'm curious, how many aspiring sales engineers, solutions architects, or people that are looking for new roles in that field? That might be an awkward question. You sit next to a colleague. You have to discuss that with
My team better have their hand up.
It was looking at his team like.
Can we raise our hands if we're hiring?
Yes, we'll definitely get to that portion. Actually, yeah, let's do it now. If you are hiring, raise your hands. We're gonna have you do that again before we go to the bar as well. So everyone look around. We have people up here. Everybody, 3 for 3. See, we're not getting replaced people. Everyone's hiring. It's fine. It's fine. All right. The question is going to be around advice for potential candidates or people who are looking for roles. As you look for new people to bring onto your team or within your organization, what are some of the things that you look for? And then also, if there's any examples of things someone has done either before, during, or after the interview process that have just kind of stopped in your tracks and blown you away, what were those? So we'll start with whoever wants to go first.
I'll go on.
Melanie.
So it was things that you look for in the interview and things that stand out?
Yep.
Okay. The things that stand out for me and that I look for, the first is how quickly can you adapt? So if you're thrown into a new scenario, are you the type of person that jumps right in, takes ownership, can handle an ambiguous situation? Do you ask a lot of questions? Are you curious? Can you be bold when maybe it's a little awkward or uncomfortable, but passion to be curious, understand from your customer, understand from your team member why we're going in this direction, and ask those types of questions. And I think the last one is resilience. How do you handle failure? That's something you're going to see a lot in sales, of not getting the outcome that you necessarily wanted or predicted. How can you quickly pivot, and how can you get back up on your feet if demo didn't go as planned, client conversation didn't go as planned, you get into a disagreement with a teammate. So all of those are the characteristics that I look for. I'd say in both an interview for a sales engineer, a sales engineering leader. And the ones that blow me away the most, just always come prepared, thoughtful, and having done the homework. Because I feel like if this is how you're gonna handle an interview, this is how you would handle an interaction with your customer and taking it seriously to make a difference for them.
Yeah, great answer. I think I would just add to that. I mean, obviously preparation is super important. Understanding the role, who you can to talk to, what it is that you think or why you'd be a good fit for this role. I think you need to think about that. The most important thing is that you can communicate, that you listen, that you have meaningful questions, and if you're not sure, you can ask a question. You can ask for it to be repeated, because really, what kind of role playing is, particularly from a kind of a field role perspective, when you're actually an SA or an SE, is how you actually deal with people when you're talking. Maybe a pressurized situation, or you don't want to say the wrong thing. So it's how you kind of deal with that, and you're prepared to say, well, I'm not quite sure. Actually, that's not something that's a strength of mine, but let me talk to something that I do feel would be appropriate to share. I think the other key thing that I always look for, is that you understand the task or the project or the thing that you've worked on, how you measured the success, and how you iterated on that to improve it, and even better, how you scaled that beyond just your specific job function. And again, that could be something that you did at university, it could be something you've done in the workplace, but it's just thinking bigger about how you're actually solving the problem, why you're solving it, how you're helping to make things better.
I love that one. All right, David, wrap this up.
Is this the last question until we get to the fun stuff, or we're just going?
Yeah.
Just wrap up this topic.
Yeah. We're getting there though, folks. We're getting there.
Kind of jolted me there. All right. So we have a hiring framework, but actually our hiring framework is different than what you may think. You might think I need to be the smartest person and study this product and be the smartest engineer. And our SA organization is a sales organization. So we actually, when I came into Redis, they said we just try to hire the craziest, smartest developer who's like as technical as they possibly can be. And I go, well, then how do you know if they can sell Redis? And they're like, oh, we didn't think about that. So we actually changed our panel to be more of a personality test, and we're part of there's a successful lineage of companies in the medic, and they have a playbook for leaders, and it's how you evaluate talent. So we use an acronym, which is a lot of stuff that you hit on, which is intelligence, coachability, character, and experience. And everybody, we play games with people. What do you think is the most important one? Obviously, everybody in this room is smart. You're smart enough to be here, to be our engineers, right? And you have ambitions. Two of the things that I really look for, which I think a lot of my team in the back really embodies, character and integrity. So there's two things: somebody who's in integrity and somebody who has the character and the will and the drive to want to be better. There's people like on our team that have this engine that they are motivated, and they show it. They say, you know what? I might not know everything, but you can teach me things, and I'm going to go do the work, and I'm going to hold myself accountable, and I'm going to be a good person, I'm going to be a good teammate, I'm going to make myself better. We really studied for that inside of an interview process. And the second is coachability. So from a leadership perspective, like if you come in and say, I'm the smartest guy ever, I already know this, I should be a leader, I should be running your job, I should be running this team, I should be principal, I got this, and you're really cocky. One of the problems with that is, okay, maybe that's true, and you might be a bad fit for the team and your teammates, but if you're not coachable, that means if you get into any trouble, we can't help you. We can't go to you and tell you how to make yourself better. And so if you've got a high motor and you're coachable, and you're positive, and you're a good teammate, and you know that you're going to go do the work and study and do that, that's the best attitude to have in an interview. And those types of people also are going to over prepare for the interview. be too. They're gonna research me, they're gonna research my company, they're gonna research everything that we're doing. I'll give you one more tidbit. So we changed the panel to figure out how people could sell. We basically made it like a trick. So we gave all of this technical information to give people 60 slides. Too much information. So if somebody's very engineer brain, they could go nuts on that. They like if they come and say, yeah, you've got 15 minutes to present. All right, I've got 75 slides, and I'm going to read every single one to you like verbatim, right? They didn't necessarily take all that information and distill down what mattered in that sales presentation and convey it, right? So when you're trying to position something, if you want to be good in sales, the best way to do that is to figure out what matters to somebody else and hit them over like directly with it. Don't be shy about it. The more direct you are, and we're in New York, you can be direct. Hit them over the head with, you need to care about this because this is going to make your life better, or get you promoted, or fix your system, or get you more revenue, and you need to know that information because there's a lot of noise in the world. And the people that do that really well, I think, are people that are good salespeople.
Really good advice there. I'll add a few more things. One is that getting hired for a new role is a sales cycle. And so you need to understand a few key things around that particular sales cycle. The two things I'll call out are, what is the decision process? How are they going to decide if you're the right fit? What's the criteria they're going to use to decide if you are the right fit for them? One of the things I learned during my time at Slack was how important just the core attributes of someone are, right? The unteachable things. And for anyone who is interviewing at Slack or interested in interviewing, they had 4 core attributes that they look for, and they were truly, truly non-negotiables. I remember sitting in rooms with my manager, Lori, at the time, and she was just like, they do not have X. And I was like, but the rest are so good. She was like, no, it's a non-negotiable. But those were people that are smart, have a growth mindset, very curious, people who are hardworking. You can't really teach that. You can learn a lot about how someone operates by figuring out how driven they are, how humble they are, how do they talk about their accomplishments, how they talk about deals that they worked on, and then how collaborative are they? Are they going to come in and be a lone wolf and be disruptive, or are they going to work well with others? And those are 4 that I take with me to this day. Like if you don't have those, you'll never get hired on any of my teams. All right, with that said, we're going to jump to a couple audience questions. I'm going to let Akshat pick whose questions we take because it's too much pressure.
All right. First SENY event. I know I've seen you were.
Yeah.
But we get to you. All right, I saw your. There you go. First one, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Nice to meet all of you. I have a question. My name's Will. I'm doing a lot of sales engineering work, but I don't have the formal title, so I'm looking to move into a role like that. One of the things that I wanted to ask is, what I'm doing right now, I consider myself quite technical, but I don't have that actual technical background. How do you see AI, like as of right now, when we're using Claude Code, all that stuff? How is that bridging the gap for people like me that don't have that technical experience or that technical background?
I think it works to your advantage that it'll make the learning curve a lot faster. Being able to understand what the right questions are, what the right subject matters are, to essentially create a learning plan for you using AI, it's going to be light years faster than if you were to do it without.
Yeah, I think exactly that. You kind of need to know what questions to ask, but absolutely, it will help accelerate. Yeah, I think that's the thing, and we can chat afterwards. Some other advice.
Yeah,
Eric blessed me with the mic, so.
All right, also introduce yourself too.
Hi folks, Alex King, work at Webflow and the Solution Group there. Just going back to the technical question about what you all were building, just very curious to know what tools you use. Eric mentioned it a few times, clearly there's a sponsorship over here. But more seriously, like Claude has sort of exploded my mind on the things that are possible. Are there other tools that are exploding your minds on the things that are possible?
I mean, yes. So I mean, look, everybody at Amazon from the development side uses Kiro now, which is our own IDE, but it's powered by Anthropic models. We use Amazon Quick every day, Salesforce. They're the kind of the core ones that we're using, but yeah, we're building and using Hero, and others will use Claude Code as well.
I'd say for IBM too, similar, we have Bob, which also uses anthropic models powered by What's Next Workshop, a bunch of internal tools. So outside of everything that Claude, ChatGPT, whatnot, those are the ones that I think we use a lot.
Yeah, I think all those, and I'll kind of lighten it up. So I wore my IBM blue shoes, I got my reddish red socks, and then I brought my wife, Catherine, who knows how to buy stuff on Amazon. So I think we got all this stuff covered. But actually, all jokes aside, because we're in the middle of we're in the middle of enterprise architecture. We have Amazon's one of our biggest partners. IBM is actually a very large customer that runs Redis, and there's a lot of interconnectivity. So when you look at actual building applications in enterprise architecture, connectivity in the platforms that you connect to are going to matter. So with I'll just shout out Amazon. We were first to have Bedrock integration, and our customers using Claude to kind of develop stuff, and you have that entire ecosystem of the different types of LLMs that you're calling, different types of tools. So we have a very open, like I said, our CEO is a super believer in it and a believer in freedom, and there's other companies that you probably work for, some of them are more free and more governed, because it's also scary from the security side if you just open all this other stuff up. But I think back to the original kind of point, when this stuff starts to work and you start to see some of the slower kind of drudgy IT departments get disrupted by Claude and ChatGPT and the different types of things that we're putting out, people will say, we're gonna get disrupted as a business, we need to open this up from a security perspective and start allowing these other tools to be available.
All right, 2 quick questions and then, hi, first, and then.
Hi, thank you for doing this. This was super informative. My name is Ralph. I'm a forward deployed solution owner for generative AI for procurement tech. I know we spoke a lot about what the team and SE team and SA team really need, and what I've heard is that when transitioning into SE team, your stakeholder is really your account executive. So my question to you is, what skills do account executives really value from the SE collaborators?
Technical guidance. I will say more times than enough, keep me honest here. They want that confidence that, they can go into a meeting with you and you can pause the brakes when needed, you can accelerate when needed, so that's definitely a big part of it. And not being shy to give your opinion if they're going down the wrong path. I would say the right way. Other than that, I think it's really open communication. The best relationships that I've had with my account executives over the years are the ones when you're lockstep, have a plan together, get to know each other as people, and you really build that relationship first.
I just add and say, I think that when a salesperson at AE, when they see that the SA, the SE is able to build a relationship with the customer, that it's somebody that can go and have meetings alone, without the salesperson having to be there, they can build relationships at C-level as well. That's a big thing that we see, being able to build relationships with executive as well as with other people across the business line, business owners, developers, etc., etc. So that's highly valued. Most, it should be a partnership where you both bring different things. But again, I just reiterate that the best SEs, SAs are really good at selling, therefore listening to a customer, framing their question, and being able to bring a solution to solve the business problem. Of course, going deep technically. And so, technically there may not be that much of a difference between a really strong sales SE, SA, and a seller, but I think that from an SE and SA perspective, we're just passionate about doing this. That's ultimately it, and we enjoy actually building the solution or helping the customer build the solution.
So I think in the level of evolution of, and this might describe some of your sales and SE relationships, when you have a salesperson that's like, I got the meeting and I brought lunch, and they come in and they flip their laptop up and they're like, all right, SE, get out there and dance, right? Go do your show. and I'm gonna sit here and Google stuff, right? Like, that's not a very productive relationship. I think it's evolving, and it actually is better when people do stay in their lane, but they know enough about the other side to be dangerous and help each other. Because when you go in like as a pair, and you know what outcomes you want to go. Like I love the examples that you guys just brought up, building technical champions. We need to find a technical champion. We need to figure out who cares. I want to make sure that this SA can go take this person out to coffee and build that relationship up because he's going to say yes to go get it. You go in with a plan together, and they're covering their side and you're covering your side, but you guys are meeting in the middle and coming out with the objectives that you wanted to hit. Oh, I got my champion. We really convinced them to move forward on this thing. You came across there. We got metrics so they know how much it's going to care about. We got some business value that we're generating. That's what a good team looks like, and I think SA should read sales books. You should read the Challenger Sale. You should read the books that help you persuade. There's a bunch, probably a question about books, so I won't spoil that. But get your head into the mindset of like, what do salespeople really care about? How do I even prospect or connect or build champions and go to the other side too?
Cool, thank you.
All right, one more quick one, if it is.
Yeah. And just one is good.
Okay, so hey everyone, my name is Sandra, I'm from Ojai, and I think it's safe to assume that everybody here works for a vendor, and so we're seeing like more and more, our prospects, our customers are saying, you know what, we have AI, we have Lean, ChatGPT, Claude, all these things, you know what, instead of you, we're gonna explore building this internally, and that's when it, you know, and we all have a bunch of expletives in our head when we hear that, but, you know, I know how I combat it, but it's like how, when that comes up, you know, what are your go-tos? What are the first questions that you think to ask? How do you fight that battle?
That's a good question. Thank you. SaaSpocalypse.
I think many things. Look, I would need to understand why. Because is your business in the business of building a new CRM system, a new ERP system, or is your business in the business of delighting your customers and increasing sales? Without getting into the whole business field, but I would ask why. It's a question that for sure comes up. I think people who absolutely love this think, yeah, I could build it, do anything. I think somebody was telling me they asked, Claude, could it build SAP? They said no, but I can build a lot of things that could integrate and support it. So, yeah, I get it. It's definitely going to be something that people are thinking about, particularly. But it could be a cost driver. They could have been in a meeting. Somebody said, "How do we cut costs? Why don't we just get rid of all this software licenses?"
That's pretty good though. Can I do this too? Do you really want to do this?
Yeah. Well, let's go and build something fun.
Yeah. All right, great question. Thank you for all the questions. We're going to finish up with a few more questions. This is what we like to affectionately call the lightning round here. Cue the sirens. We're going to do 3 questions to end. These will be good icebreakers. Are all 3 of you coming to, what's it called, John DuBois afterwards?
Yes.
Okay. So if anyone wants to, break the ice and learn something about these fine folks, the first question is going to be, what is your favorite app currently on your phone?
Claude.
Okay.
Find my friends.
I'm going to give a not that cool answer. Did you know that the US mail has an app that shows you exactly what you're going to get? And it's like email? Dude, it's awesome. I'm like, I don't even need to go to my mailbox anymore. It's just adding up.
That is an unexpected answer.
I use it every day. It's unbelievable. But we use, like I already shouted out all the other ones that we're using.
We haven't had that one yet. Okay, the US Mail app's about to climb the leaderboard here. Mine's the Sonos app. It's the first app I open every day. I open up Sonos and figure out what my vibe's going to do and play some music, and the whole family has to suffer through it. All right, on that note, a music note, what or who is your favorite band or musician of all time, or one that you're really playing a lot lately?
Yeah, so I met my wife about 1.5 years ago, and my Spotify top 10 was like, you listen to Tool and Chevelle and all these 90s rock bands or whatever. And all 10 songs this year was Bad Bunny Baby, yeah, 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 yeah. So that's my favorite artist.
All right, I'm gonna go with classic Usher.
Ooh, Usher.
Sports podcasts.
Podcast.
Basically, yeah, soccer related.
Not much music happening there. Okay. Russ, that's good. Our last question. You kind of jumped the gun on this one, but hopefully you have a long roster here. One podcast or book recommendation that you want to share with everyone here today.
I think the AI Daily podcast. Absolutely recommend that. And then book, one I just read recently, and I'd recommend everybody reads it. It's pretty short. It's called Leadership to Self-Deception. Available on Amazon. And when you read it, it's written in a story format, so it takes a couple of hours to read it, and you'll realize how deep you are into the box and that you need to get out of it. So yeah, recommend that you do.
Sorry, what was it called?
I think it's Leadership to get out of self-deception. If you Google self-deception, you'll find it.
Okay, podcast, How I Built This, Guy Raz, all different entrepreneurs and how they founded their companies. And then book, I will say, Never Split the Difference, All Around Negotiation.
I was gonna say that too. No, yeah, she's got great answers, at least because I thought they were good answers. Has anybody read? Have you guys heard of Never Split the Difference? Yeah, it's a really fun one, right? Because it's like diffusing a bomb and like hostage negotiation situation. The second book I was gonna go along with, so I've recommended a couple of books. Has everybody read Demo to Win?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of heads. If you haven't read Demo to Win, read that book. It's like you only have to read the first 3 chapters. There's one I just recommended to somebody in the audience, which is called The Champion Cell. So it comes from the MEDIC philosophy, and I'll just kind of give you one blurb about it. If you think you're selling to companies, like I walked in and I sold to IBM. I just said, hey IBM, come buy Redis, right? Like, IBM's not a person, right? You're selling to people, and actually for people to buy something inside of IBM, like you need to talk to several different people, and they need to be able to maneuver inside of that company, and people are gonna tell them no the entire way. And they need to tell them, like they need to stand up and say, yes, we will buy your product, right? And so the book's called The Champion Cell. Is it Champion Cell or Champion Way? Champion Cell. Yeah, it's written by this guy, Rich Rivera, that talks about breaking down how to build a champion, how to identify a champion, how to find change agents and motivate them and put them to your cause. So it's a good book.
That's great. Yeah.
I had a request. There's an Iris user who wants to ask a question. I can't say no, so why don't you ask a question quickly?
Sure.
No, you don't? Come on.
It's not to beat a dead horse with AI or anything, but throughout the whole panel, you guys kept mentioning that the technical will get much more simple. It'll sort of blur that line between the technical seller and the seller, right? So my question was, do you see those roles connecting and eventually converging into sort of one role? It's a little bit off topic, but
Melanie just said no.
Yeah. Melanie with a firm no.
I don't know, there's like the ability to learn, but then the ability to really get to that skill and focus of your area of expertise in front of a client. I think you can better understand each other, but you're still gonna have your areas of ownership, in my opinion.
So has anybody tried to be a sales rep that's been an SA before? I have too. The first thing that happens when you change your title to sales rep, people are like, I hate you. Like, what, you used to love me last week? Like, don't talk to me, you scumbag. I don't want to buy anything. Change it back to architect. Oh, I'd love to have a conversation with you. You sound really smart. That's amazing, right? Like, it's a totally different job. You need to prospect. You need to go do the work. You need to go connect. One of the funniest, scariest things that's going to happen, though, is when the sales rep can whip up a Claude demo faster than you. Well, I built a demo in 2 minutes, and it's ready to go, and I think it's pretty good. And you're going to have to figure out how to play your position on the court, so that'll be fun.
Yeah. I think about it as like a unicycle versus a bicycle. Like, yeah, you could ride a unicycle down a hill really, really fast, but it might not be that safe. you ride a bicycle extremely fast in a very safe way, so I think about the A and S as the front and back wheel there. All right, podcast recommendation for me. There's one called Hunters and Unicorns. I watch it on YouTube. They interview a lot of great sales leaders. They also have a series where they focus on pre-sales leaders as well. A lot of knowledge within those, so highly recommend that. And with that, I think that means we're ready to roll. So quick round of applause for the panel that traveled far and wide to be here tonight. And then an extra round of applause for Melanie for hosting us. Thank you so much.